We're doing a hackathon right now for this technology we call Canvas. And Canvas allows you to embed full applications directly into the feed of Discover itself. And we are seeing a lot of things from DeFi to token trading to swaps to gaming. There's even some like AI stuff, a lot of token minting. But check it out. I think there's a lot of ways to get distribution through our platform. And the development process is pretty simple. It's you basically can build a traditional website like you're used to doing, add a simple meta tag to it, and it's embeddable directly into the platform. We have, over 100,000, 75,000, 100,000 daily active users. Front page posts can get up to 200,000 to 300,000 views alone. So there's a lot of ways to get attention to the application you're developing. Also, there's a lot of ways to experiment. So yeah, check out Canvases. It's /p/discover canvas on discover.one. And so that domain is DSCVR.one. And the cool thing about this is that it's an open book, right? You can interact with a native crypto audience and actually get them to start transacting over your application and experimenting with these users. I mean, Web3 consumer, really unknown, right? There's some things that we're starting to learn over the past couple of years, but there's still like it's an open story. It's like almost choose your own adventure. And I think this is a great audience to start experimenting with and understanding what are the needs of Web3 consumers. So it's a great place to start. And I really suggest checking it out. We have a great developer Discord with a lot of people pretty active in there answering questions. I'll be in there answering questions myself. But yeah, let me know.
Perfect. Rick. So, sorry, I just have one quick question. Are you
Sure.
like the tech as well of Discover or
Yeah, CEO/CTO, but I mean, as a Web3 company, you gotta wear both hats, right? You always
right?
you gotta be
I
in the
know.
trenches. So
Cool. Yeah. So if you want to check more about the hackathon, I dropped the link. If you want, I can share the my screen so you can check the. Give me one sec here. Here. Let me share this. Right, cool. Right. This is the right link, right, Rick?
yeah, absolutely. And it's registration still open. And there's some tracks that you should definitely check out. And I think the token stuff, especially non-fungibles, are pretty exciting, and especially within a social context. So I do think there's a lot of angles that people could take this from. Um, and there's a lot of mechanics built into our API to kind of like help boost community engagement. So something that's starting to emerge is, comment, write a specific type of comment to be able to use the app. So you can ask some real questions to the community and get some live feedback from our users. And if you want to iterate quickly, and Web3, as you know, is all about moving quickly and iterating quickly. So this is a great place to kind of conceptualize something, experiment with that community, and start getting that feedback instantly. And for sure, if you have a canvas that you're developing, talk about it. Talk about it with On Discover. Reach out to us. We want to work with you on it. I think there's a lot of angles that this can be taken from. And Web3 consumer, it's greenfield. It's absolutely greenfield. We have so much infrastructure in Web3. Now it's time to utilize it. Let's put it together and figure out something real interesting that we can use to address these new communities. And something you'll find on Discover that I think is pretty exciting is that the typical user is like a Web 2.5 user. Sometimes our user, their first Web3 experience is on Discover. So not only is it green field, but their minds are green field too. They're looking for something new. Gaming is huge on Discover. It's a lot of activity around it. Micro games seem to be like getting a lot of traction. We're seeing a lot of AI generated content, AI generated feeds. So I do think what's really going to be interesting is diving into that user, kind of working with them and seeing what they're kind of like really gets them interested, what gets them engaged. So yeah, reach out. And our Discords are open, our Telegrams are open, our Twitters are open. DM us on the or tag us on the site. More than happy to help you out and walk you through the process. And if you're like already looking at Telegram mini apps, um, our platform uses a lot of the similar technology, but now you can use Solana to do it. So you could actually develop a native app as you were with Telegram mini apps, but actually make it for Solana embedded directly within inside of Discover. And it works natively too with whatever wallet. If you're a Backpack user, Phantom user, Soulflare user, it'll be the same libraries that you're already using to develop web apps. It'll plug right into our wallet adapter. So this means that through this wallet adapter, you'll be able to access or make requests to access for users for transactions. And for a layer of security, we use Blowfish. So all of our transactions go directly through Blowfish and verified through them. So there's a lot of ways to like protect the user, but also give them the confidence that the app they're interacting with has some safety to it. Cool.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah, I think there's a question here. I'll ask if they can still register. And yeah, according to Steven, definitely yes. So you can see here, it's hosted under Dora Hacks. So there's still 8 days left for submission. So you can go to this link and of course register to get in. See. So yeah, as we can see in this link, we all of the resources are here. Actually, even the ideas, there are ideas here. NFT stake rewards, decentralized governance dashboard. So guys, if you want to join Discover Hackathon, and if you don't have an idea yet, check this page so you can have ideas to build. And right now we're also about to head to Raider Hackathon, right? So I think this is one of the best thing, Rick. Once I think one project can be qualified in different hackathons so long as you integrate, their technologies. So with Discover, by the way, Rick, I'm just curious. So far, what ideas do you think are best to build in Canvas Build-a-thon?
Yeah, I think a
The,
lot
the,
of the
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
some of
sorry.
the popular ideas are I really like the Metaplex core stuff. I do think there's a lot of doors that can open with that. You have a much cheaper minting fee than traditional NFTs. And also you get all those life cycle hooks that you can tap into. And I think there's going to be a lot of like, especially over the next 3 to 6 months, I think there's going to be a lot of NFT traction happening. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of interesting engagement with the users. I do think tokens, like traditional fungible tokens, there's some traction there too, especially within gaming. And then DAOs. I do think from a social perspective, DAOs are, as you know, a lot of people don't participate. So is there a way to make participating in a DAO actually fun and engaging for the user? Like, how do we simplify that process or make it more streamlined? And I think that's to me where we're going to see a lot of innovation, especially in Web3 consumer and social.
Perfect. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, even if there's a lot of traction about DAOs, and most of the members are not engaged enough. So yeah, I think that's a good idea to build. How would they be fully engaged in the project, right? In the vision and with all of the activities as well.
Yeah, there's like I don't know, I know have you ever, when you go to Amazon and you're buying something and you're reading reviews, I've noticed recently they have this like they take all the reviews, throw it through AI, and then like have a summary of all the reviews in one spot. And there might be something, a mix of like using AI to summarize not only the feedback of a proposal, but also the proposal themselves. And I think a lot of people, like DAOs, true DAO members, sometimes it takes a lot of effort. I mean, there's a lot of like deep threads, a lot of messages, and like, so how do you compress all that information to educate a voter who may be casual about it? They just want to kind of get that high level and get that quick feedback from the user. And also the kind of a voting process. Yeah, we've like simplified it to a yes, no, maybe, or abstain. But like, I do think that there's a way to actually um, even make that process more fun. And I think there's like creating the proposal too. How do you simplify the process and engagement? Like, how do you incentivize, like, hey, look, it's really important that this community participates, but it's also important that they're educated on all aspects of the proposal, which usually includes community feedback from key players. So it's like, how do you compress all that information to be able to educate a voter within a DAO? And I think, like, if we really want Web3 to function and we really want that infrastructure to matter, we've also got to participate, right? And that's kind of that's the purpose. Like, we're all doing this together and we're all participants together. So how do we really address a wider audience and a growing audience? Web3 is growing, right? Every day a Web2 user becomes a Web3 user. And how do you speed them up on that process and help them understand the importance they have in the process? Because a lot of us who've been around, we've been part of that process. So I think there's ways through DAO voting and Canvas that we can kind of figure out and experiment with simplifying that process. That
Totally.
call to
Yeah.
action, right?
Yeah. Because whatever happens, I think it's always the community or who would mold where a certain project is headed to, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Everything, I think all projects are based on what the community wants, definitely, right? What the majority of the people would want that project to to be in the future. Because at the end of the day, it's always about decentralization. It's it's how we can mold where this technology is going. Rick, I think majority of our audience right now is actually tech developers. So maybe you have some snippets on how to like integrate Canvas in their projects. Do you have like
Yeah.
certain?
Abs
Yeah. Okay, maybe
so
we
we
can
have
begin.
we'll put it in there and maybe Steven can put it in there. So we have docs.dscvr.one. So our documentation. And there you'll find our API, which is GraphQL. And you'll find how to install or enable your application to be Canvas enabled. And it's as simple as adding a meta tag to the header of your site. So within the head of a document, HTML document, you'll have these meta tags. That is the lowest hanging fruit. So like you could literally have an HTML page sitting in a GCP bucket or some form of bucket. And as long as it has that header, it'll render as a canvas on Discover. Now, we do have a couple policies in place. And so we use content security policies. And those are to protect the user and protect the platform and protect the developer. But one of those rules is no unsafe inlines. And that really means you just can't have inline JavaScript on your page. So 90% of React or 99% of React, Vue, and Svelte and Angular all automatically handle this for you. So you really never have to think about it. But if you're just doing vanilla JS with an HTML page, you got to make sure you don't inline your JavaScript. And next is if you are making requests to external services, you just got to declare those services. So we whitelist Helios and a couple others, but if you're making a request to, let's say it's an Alchemy API or a Simple Hash API from the front end, you may just want to declare that and we'll allow it. But it's just to inform the user and inform us that, hey, I'm going to be communicating with these external sites. All internal communication. So if your front end talks to your back end, you don't need to declare that. And that's what in the content security world is called self. So anything that talks to itself, it really doesn't need to be declared. But a lot of capabilities here. I think, if you're a Unity developer, we fully enabled WASM, so WebAssembly. So when you're developing a Unity application and you export it for the web, it's just WASM. And so there's a lot of angles to take this from, but like, let's say you want to get more sophisticated with things. We have the Discover Canvas SDK, and this SDK lets you actually interact with Discover through your canvas. So you can get information about the user that's actually interacting with the canvas. You can create a post. So you can say, hey, I want to create a post when they click this button, and it'll create a post with inside of Discover. It'll give them a pop-up. You can also issue transactions. So you can be like, hey, I would like to request this user to sign this transaction. And when that transaction comes through, which is base 58 encoded, it'll be passed to Blowfish. Blowfish will verify the transaction and display a modal to the user to pass this on to their wallet. So this will actually allow them to do things like use wallet, which is common for front-end developers, especially within the Solana ecosystem, to be able to access a diverse amount of wallets. And you could really use whatever front-end language you're comfortable with. As I was saying, React, Svelte, Vue, Angular. It's really choose your own adventure on that. And the goal here is just to meet the developers exactly where they're at. So figure out where these native developers are already, the languages that they're already used to and comfortable with, and be able to bridge ourselves right into them. So I think it's pretty simple. We have quite a bit of examples. We're rolling out more and more examples all the time and a diverse amount of projects. So here's a couple that are using Vite or Vue. So Vite as your server, Vue as your front end. Here's our Next.js/React project. We have some Angular ones and Svelte ones, but they all, if you're a developer, you're pretty much like, yeah, they all follow very similar paradigms, and you'll probably be able to relate to how the implementations on any of those stacks. So we have WebSockets also work. So if you kind of want to make that real living experience, it's a lot of fun for the user, but you can actually plug directly into the WebSocket itself from the canvas and kind of really create that real-time web application that, to me, is more of that emerging application. It makes things living more fun. Yeah, actually, there's a interesting one on here, and that was the Relic DAO. And Relic DAO is doing a watch to earn. And so basically, they've created this canvas where you can watch a video or two a day and start earning tokens directly through the canvas, right? We see a lot of like gaming starting to emerge, and I have like a personal favorite Web3 game that I used to check out, which was Sunflower Land. But if you remember like Farmville from back in the day, there's a lot of relationships to that. So you could actually create your own vision of like Farmville directly with inside of Discover, but have that full-fledged application. And this final part, which I think is super important, and to me, this is what empowers the app developer, is you could use the Discover's user as their way of authenticating, or you could have the user authenticate via the wallet. And the way this empowers the app is this gives them the optionality so that not only will their app work within a canvas, but it could work outside in as a normal web application, just as long as they're using their wallet as a form of authentication. So take your user with you. If you can grow your users on Discover, you can port your users into your own application seamlessly and automatically through your own web application. So if you're a developer, this is an interesting way to really get that distribution. And using wallets as identity is already a learned behavior, right? We're already used to that. So we wanted to make sure that after we met app developers there also. Cool. Questions?
Cool. Thanks, Rick. So guys, I enabled the unmute button, guys. If you have questions, feel free to uh unmute yourselves and then you throw in your questions. Sorry, I'm actually scrolling to websites you have. So
Yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see there's like this is our Canvas showcase.
uh,
And there's like a couple games in here, um, some AI. If you keep scrolling, there's like a full-on Doom game. So someone has the ability you can actually play Doom directly through the canvas right there.
this one.
Um, yeah, and you could if you're good, it's super. I mean, I've tried playing on like Insanity or whatever it is. Oh, you gotta be logged in. But yeah, the
Yeah.
uh it's a full WASM game, so you can play it directly with inside of the feed.
Yeah, let me try to sign in first, and then I'll go back to this
That's
page.
cool.
Let's see.
But yeah, we're seeing more of the like more diversity within the applications than we kind of expected. We wanted to make sure we broke the template on like what's possible through a feed on a social platform. And for Web3, it's super important that like it takes it to that next level. Um, and to me, that's like Canvas to me answers that question super well. Now it's like the experimentation has really taken off and we're seeing that diversity in applications. So to like from a developer perspective, like I was saying, it's really choose your own adventure. Find out what you're comfortable with, find out what you're like comfortable building or excited about building, and do that MVP or that proof of concept and get that feedback from the community. Because this will allow you to iterate quickly with an audience that really is interested in emerging technology.
Cool. You know what? After I signed in, I just got 50 discover points.
Yeah,
This is
sign up.
great. Let's
Yeah,
see.
there's probably if you
Okay,
pair
let me go
wallets, so
back.
if you sign up, pair a wallet, there's probably going to be a couple loot boxes scattered across the site. So a lot of creators will create a loot box and put in NFTs in it, and those will be all minted on demand. So that's pretty that's really exciting too because like this is a way that people can get distribution for their own profiles. So we've tried to gamify the sign up process as much as possible and really educate the user. And streaks are also uh, compelling because like now it's a way that like we can really have that day-to-day engagement with those users. I actually saw a canvas where that's like there's a streak built into it. Yeah, so you load this. So it's actually got to download like the game and you click that. So now it like loads up the game itself. So this is all happening, you know, you just signed up, right?
You can actually
Um, yeah, you can actually play through it. And so this is like reposted, but there's another you can do like competitions within the feed of Discover itself and like be like, hey, let's get you know, top score, post your top score, share your top score, and do all sorts of competitions with inside of the feed. But that game is crazy hard. Like I do not remember it being so difficult. I think one of the night streams is like another like side scroller game. Um, Chat GPT. You know, you could post your questions about canvases you want to make. But I do think it's like a good way to kind of really ask questions to a community that's interested in what is that next generation of social?
I think we have a question here, Rick. How does the aspect ratio work for canvases? If it's a web app embedded inside Discover, would that affect the styling of the app?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So by default, it'll take the aspect ratio of your preview image by default, right? But if you want to make sure the height matches your expectations, through the SDK, you can actually set the height of the canvas up to 1,000 pixels. So you can control the height of it. The width is just going to naturally meet the screen's width. So the reason we went with that path is you can kind of create that mobile feeling experience directly within the canvas, or you can match the height that you would prefer to have. And with one of our examples, we have a React and Vue example of setting the height of those canvases. So you can get pretty granular control over that. But again, by default, it'll set it to the aspect ratio of the canvas itself. Cool. Any other questions?
Hope that answers your question, JP. Or said thank you. Have
Cool.
other questions, guys?
Yeah, awesome. If you really, this is like, open, right? And I think
Hmm.
no matter what question you have, you should ask it. I think it's important to like go through all possible use cases. And I think over the last like month or so since we've been kind of working with it, what's my skincare? Yeah, dude, I need a better skincare routine. But I do think like I think that there's like this new aspect of like consumer apps that we're starting to see where they like actually plugs into that like driven user experience where you have this user who's already like embedded on the platform. They're already this Web3 native user, but like they're looking for that deeper level of experience. And I do think like we're going to see through Canvas, we're going to see that like get tapped into through the user um, by them like interacting with these applications, figuring out what actually works for them, but like also where do they find their pain points? Like what are they finding difficult? But what new behaviors are we starting to unlock? And like new behavior is something that in Web3 that's thought about a lot. Like, so we have all this technology, but does it go beyond the exchange, right? Does it go beyond the DeFi? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. But like, what does that look like for different consumer applications? So if you're looking for new ways to discover user behavior, I think this is a quick way to iterate on top of that. Cool.
Cool. Thanks, Rick. Have other questions, guys? Sorry. I think it's almost midnight here in the Philippines. I'm not sure where you in, Rick. You
Uh,
from
North of Portland in a city called Vancouver, Washington. So it's like south of Seattle.
Oh, is it like 8 a.m. or in by your time?
Yeah, it's 8:30 a.m. So
Yeah, I gotta guess it. It's too early, right? Talk about a lot of things on your end. But yeah, thank you so much, Rick. I think they
yeah.
don't have questions, but if they do have, definitely I think Steven has dropped the links earlier. You can join of course follow Twitter first or X. I'm gonna drop again their X account. And they have like a Discord or community. I think Steven shared it already here. Guys, again, you want if you have this is I think a dev Discord community. You have questions or having issues integrating Canvas in your oh yeah, there I shared it. in your project, guys, feel free to, connect with Steven. I think Steven is there in the Discord, and maybe Rick would answer one of the questions. Um, yeah, I think we're all set, Rick. Thank you so much again for your time. Do you have other something to promote or something to add to this call?
Yeah, no, check out Discover. We really are focused on onboarding the next generation of Web3 users. It's an entirely different type of audience that you would typically find. I would say there are lots of small value or high volume transactions, but micro transactions. And they want things to be simple. They want it to be extremely, extremely simple. They want it to be as easy as Web 2. And so that's what Discover's approach is how do we make the new experiences as easy as Web 2? And the better you address that, the quicker you tap into the user and the quicker you grab their attention. So, and Web3 is I think, the ultimate form of the attention economy at times. So,
Agree, agree. So one last time, I'll flash it. Rick, again, to register, go to this link, and then again, 100K USD on the line, guys. And of course, this is made possible by Discover, and priced by Metaplex, Tweed, Matrica, SpeederSwap, Helios, and definitely the Solana Foundation. So again, thank you so much, Rick, for for Canvas Buildathon. And hope you have a great day, the rest of your day.
yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Later.
See you again.